So hi, I'm really happy to be here today. My name is Daniel and I'm the head of R&D at Monday.com. Previously I worked in IBM and SAP. And I'll tell you a bit about Monday. So Monday is a tool that helps teams work better together and fulfill their potential as a team. It's a team collaboration software. And currently we have more than 50K accounts, which means paying companies. And also something that is really interesting about Monday is that our customers come from a variety of different verticals, more than 200 verticals. And most of our customers are non-tech savvy and use Monday to manage every aspect of their work. This is a bit about our journey in the last 2.5 years. So as you can see, I joined Monday at the end of 2016. And since then, we grew a lot, both in the number of customers, in revenue, and the number of people in the team. And we are all leading here development teams, and you know that scale is hard. Making scale of the team is something that is really, really hard. But today, I want to focus on a specific point in time and take you with me to this specific point in time. So we'll go back to March 2018. We, at that time, prepared for a board meeting. We have a periodic board meeting every quarter or so. And this is a great time for us to reflect and to see what have we done as a team. So we wrote all the things that we did as a team. And suddenly it was like striking. We saw that we're stuck. We did a lot of things, we progressed with the product, but we didn't do any new revolution in the product. And at this point we had like 25 really amazing engineers. Everyone were working really long hours. We had a great execution bit. We released a lot of things every day, and still we felt stuck. And just to explain what it means, so if I ask any one of you, what was the great revolution in the phone industry in the last few years? So the most prominent thing that we all say is the invention of the iPhone. Since then, there were like increments in the phone industry, a better battery, more storage and things like that, but no real revolution. So the phone are progressing, but there isn't any something like very, very meaningful, like the invention of the iPhone. And this is exactly how we felt. We felt that we are working hard, we are releasing lots of things, but we are not making a huge change. And everyone here can think for a minute and like look back at the past year and think, how much did you really change the product? Did you really change the company that you are working on? And for us, it was a pivotal moment because we really felt that we were stuck. And from that point and on, we decided that we need to focus more on making a real progress, right, rather just doing motion, okay? Releasing everything doesn't necessarily mean that you are progressing, okay? It doesn't necessarily mean that your product gets better and significantly better. And our biggest challenge was to think about like, how can we change everyone's mindset in the company? Because it's not just an high-level problem that you need as a leader to think and do. It's more of like how you make everyone in your team care more about progress and not just working hard, delivering the content, but making a change in the real world. And I think that once you'll make it with the entire team, the things that you accomplish as a company will be much more like a lot more things that makes an actual impact. And if I'll take you fast forward to today, so we did a change, and this change was like made a huge impact both for us as a team and also to our customers. You can see some of the responses we got throughout this period, and you can see that our customers really felt that we did something differently. They felt that they feel that the product has made a huge step. And not only the feedback that we got, we also got it like in numbers. So probably most of you know the NPS survey, the Net Promoter Score, when you ask people inside your platform how much are they likely to recommend your platform to a friend or a colleague. And this is a change we saw in the survey, okay? It's an amazing change in just like 5 months, over 25% improvement in the customer satisfaction. So today I want to share with you our journey and what we actually did in order to transform motion into progress and share our practical ways that helped us. So the first thing I want to talk about is how we build roadmap. We are all working and building roadmap for our teams, and this is how we did it back then. Okay, we decided about the list of features we want to do. Usually it's the product team that says what are the features you want to do. Then we give an estimations, how long each feature will take. We decide what's in and what's out, and we release it. And this is the intuitive way. It usually looks like this, a long list with priority and like high-level estimations and so on. But this method actually didn't make us excel, okay? Instead, when we think about roadmap today, we try to visualize the company and the product in 3 months from now. And we try to think how the revolution would look like and where do we want our product to be in 3 months from now. And in order to achieve it, this is the new methodology that we use internally. So instead of talking about features, we are talking about opportunities, okay? What are the opportunities that we want to pursue and for how long? For each one of the opportunities we decide to do or to go with, we define a measurable goal. We try to visualize how would the success look like and try to visualize it in terms of a goal that we can measure and see if we did good or not. And the execution is not just a release. We try to release it iteratively, get signals for our direction as fast as we can, and we really put speed as a value that we really believe in order to do a great product. And this is an update from our system, from Monday.com, where we try to do this thought process for analyzing each one of the opportunities. So I'll try to give an example. For instance, for a long time in the product, we want to do a feature that is called due date reminders, okay? So in the old form, we just take it as a feature, do it, plan it, and execute it, and release. But in the new form, we try to analyze it. And first of all, we try to think what is the value or the opportunity around this thing. So in this case, the value is helping our customers handle deadlines better. And the opportunity is huge because every project has dates. Everyone works with dates. Then we try to define what is the target audience. In this case, we did a small check and we identified that more than 30% of our customers actually use dates, okay? Which means that if we do a significant change there, it will really make the company different. And then we try to decide what are the goals and the definition of success. Release is not a goal, okay? Release is just a way to get things out. A goal would be make more people use dates, or more accurately, make an increase in date usage of 30%. And we also can talk about MVP and cost. And this thought process really helps us. There are many ways, but this thought process really helps us to frame things and to make sure we're in the right direction. And the change it did of treating things like that was really, really good. Instead of like thinking about amazing ideas and features we need to add to our product, we suddenly asked, will this idea, will this opportunity can actually move the needle? Okay, if you have an idea about a feature that is only going to affect 0.1 of your customers, it's probably not the next big thing, okay? And another important thing about this method, it helps us to remove distractions. Suddenly we are not discussing features. We discuss goals and opportunities. And it's not about which person has the greatest idea, it's more about which goal do you think we can actually commit to. Another important thing is that in the past we had like for each quarter a release date, which is very, very stressful because you work really, really hard the entire quarter and you don't know what it's going to do at the end. So we were like, very, very anxious before the release. Now we have small increments with confidence along the way because we get feedback from the real world, we get feedback from our customers, and we get feedback through data. And it's like being agile, but also in the roadmap planning, okay? And we really believe that you don't need to be 100% complete in the things you do. Usually 20% of the work will give you 80% of the value for you and for your customers. And lastly, I think that the most important part is that we stop chasing the next big feature. Rather, we look about opportunities. How can we make our customers get more value from the product? And we are always trying to think, what actually are we trying to achieve? And not what is the concrete feature that we want to do. And in the case of the deadline reminders, we ended up doing something else entirely. But the feature wasn't important, only what we tried to achieve, the goal itself. So this is a bit about roadmap. And the second thing that I want to talk about is making decisions through data. So we are all aware that, like many of the companies today, are data-driven. I'll tell you a bit how we do it on Monday. So the first aspect I want to talk about is having key performance indicators and measurements. When you release something, you can't really know if you did something good or something bad, okay? This is why delivery doesn't necessarily mean progress. There are features that you release and they take your product down, okay? They make clutter. They make the project or the product less clear. We understood that in order to work with key performance indicators, we need everyone on board. We need everyone to be able to measure themselves, to measure the progress that they did, and to see the impact of the things that they develop in real time and on the reality. So one of the things we did is we built an infrastructure. We have an internal tool called BigBrain. One of the things that this tool is doing is allowing people to check and measure their work, okay? It can be either a cohort of retention, it can be a tool for A/B test that allows us to understand and make a standard of how we treat features and things that we release. And I think it's amazing. If you'll go in the halls on Monday, it's not about did you release the feature, it's about what did your feature do, okay? And we have a standard for measuring it, and this is very, very important because it's accessible for everyone. The second thing is that we understood that in order for everyone to take decisions by themselves, we want the information to be accessible. It's good to be data-driven, but it's not enough to have the data in an SQL database that no one has access to besides the ones that are doing the actual queries. Instead, we have the data spread up in our office, in dashboards. We have a daily SMS that is being sent to everyone in the company, saying how much new signups do we have, how much new paying accounts. And we have a daily email with a report that marks everything in green or red based on how we performed this week. And we really believe that making the data accessible helps everyone to take data-driven decisions. And when everyone can measure themselves, first of all, they own their work. It's not a feedback that they need to get from me or from anyone in the company. They have feedback from the real life, from the reality. Another important thing is that suddenly everyone is like, we can take advantage of everyone's brain in a good way. Everyone see all the good, everyone see all the bad, and they can take decisions and help us see things. And lastly, I think that as managers and leaders, we often have the problem that something is going really, really wrong, and we come to the office and people are not aware of it. And then you have like a very weird situation where you feel really, really anxious and not good, but people around you can't even know. When everything is transparent, everyone is in everything together, both in the good and in the bad. Okay, and we had lots of occurrences that people saw things that are not performing well, churn, downgrades, things like that, and dive in because they have the access to the data and thought about original ideas that we wouldn't think about otherwise. So I think that KPIs and measurement and allowing everyone to measure is really, really important, but it's also super important to choose the right KPI. And I try to give you an example of how meaningful it is to choose the right KPI. So this is the main dashboard in our company. We used to have like a big number that states how many paying companies do we have. And last year we changed it, and we wanted to be more focused on our customer success and not necessarily on how much people are paying us. So we changed it to WAP. WAP stands for weekly active paying people. And you can see that once we changed it to the WAP, suddenly people felt that they can do something with this KPI. we did more tools to analyze it better, and people understand that this KPI is something that they can actually work with on a daily basis. Okay, so everyone that is doing an A/B test sees how it affects on the WAP. Okay, and also I think that it makes everyone understand that we as a company want our customers to success with the product. We don't value companies that pay for 1,000 users, but only one user pays. Okay, and making this KPI really changed the behavior of everyone in the company. So this is about making KPIs and measurements. The third thing I want to talk about next is about ownership. So we really believe that people should be owners for their work from end to end. And the first thing we did in order to make people take more ownership to their work is setting up the task forces. So in the past, when we try to do something, we try to do a new feature, we had like a pipeline where the product says what needs to be done, specify the requirements, then it goes to the design the feature, and pass it along to the developers. And it's like a pipeline. Each person is responsible for the specific stage he is working on. Instead, we think that a better way would be to have a task force that works together from day one. Everyone are working together, both on thinking how to solve the problem, how to manage to reach their goal, about the design, about the development. They have a shared responsibility about the goal and not about the specific phase in the process. Okay? And I think that the most amazing thing that happened since we did this change is that if you'll go and enter a discussion now in our offices of some of the task forces, you won't know which one is the developer, which one is the product, because they all share the responsibility for every aspect of the work. Another important part about task forces is that they are limited by time and not by the scope of the feature. It's not like we are thinking about the feature and then we are allocating time according to the feature. Rather, we allocate time and try to do the best within this time frame. So this is how a task force increment looks like. We have a phase of research, and then we have a constant release of signals along the way. We don't have a single release date like we used to have before. And everyone are working together. And it means that instead of everyone being around the execution, executing usually another man's vision, when you have a developer that gets requirements, it's not his vision, it's not his way of solving the problem. Rather, we have an ownership for end-to-end of all aspects of all members of the task force. And most importantly, people in the task force are independent to make their own decisions. They don't need anyone outside the task force. Suddenly, you don't have any dependencies, you don't have any excuses. You have only the people that actually do the work, do the actual decision making. And as we said before, they have a way to measure themselves. So this makes people around our offices feel much more a sense of ownership about their things since we did this change. Second thing about ownership is that we really believe ownership should start from day one. Okay, and I want to give you an example. This is Tut. Tut is one of the developers in our platform teams. And in her first week of work, she added a new ability to the boards. The board is the main tables, the main entities at monday.com, and she added the ability to do a right click. Once she did it and released it, the amazing thing was that she got a real feedback from the real world. Okay, first internally in our product, people from the account suddenly came to her with questions about other things that needs to be done around this area. Also from our customers, with our Facebook group that we have with our customers, in the what's new section in our product, and from the diagram. And I think that getting a real feedback from the real world is very much addictive. And now when Tut do other things as well, first of all, she feels that she is the owner because all the feedback is going straight to her. And second, if she won't get it, or the next time she won't get this kind of feedback from the real world, she would think, what did I do wrong? Okay, and it makes it very, very addictive to look for a real value and a real impact on the real world. So this is about ownership, and we'll go now to the last thing that I think is really, really important and really interesting. So we aim to do 5x and not to do a simple increment in what we do. And it's in everything we do, and I'll explain it. When you want people to do 5x, they need to reinvent themselves. They can't just work harder if I ask them to do 20% more, they will just work harder. Asking them to do 5x will make them reinvent themselves and do things differently, which is really important when you scale. So the first way to gain it is to set up an impossible deadlines. And let's take a look at that example. So again, here's our boards, and you build boards out of different types of columns. And after 4 years, we had 7 types of columns in the product. And it all changed when we said, okay, we want to add 25 more columns, but in 2 months. And a really interesting thing has happened since we set up this goal, which seems impossible in first glance. First of all, it created an amazing sense of focus. People feel that they have such an impossible task, so they don't do anything else. No nice to haves, no things that are not in the core. And surprisingly, the restraints were liberating, okay? Because you suddenly have the privilege to focus on a single, really important task. More importantly, it got us thinking outside of the box, because if we decide to do column by column like we used to do it before, we wouldn't achieve the goal, okay? So in this case, we created an amazing infrastructure. Then we did a training to the entire R&D, and we did an hackathon. In that hackathon, every one of the R&D did a column. So this hackathon made the infrastructure amazing, because we really set up a goal, set a goal that everyone would be able to do a column in 1 day. And in this case, we really made it. And the most important thing that we gained from this experience is suddenly everyone had a new mindset. Instead of impossible, everything seems easy. Okay? And we did it over and over again, and making impossible deadlines force you to reinvent yourself and to do different things that you did before. A second thing that helps to do this kind of scale is to use tools and to build tools to scale exponentially. We do a lot of marketing at Monday.com. We spend millions of dollars a month on online marketing. This is a way to acquire new customers with a no-touch funnel. And we used to have one developer that developed new landing pages each week. You need the landing pages for Facebook campaigns, for AdWords, and so on. And he developed 2 or 3 pages a week. And as our marketing spend grew, we needed more and more pages because we have more channels and we have more campaigns. So instead of just recruiting more people to do it, or asking from this developer to work harder and do 1 or 2 additional pages each week, we created a tool that is called the landing page generator, and you can see it here. It's basically a tool that allows the marketing team to write and publish new landing pages without any developers. Okay, it's really, really simple. It's well customized for our needs. And in the last 3 months, we published over 600 pages without any developer. And I think that this example symbolizes the fact that tools and automations can help you scale dramatically. And instead of just thinking about how you work harder, which is actually emotion, think about how you can change the rules and how you can change the game and do a real progress. So, to sum up things, I think that the journey from motion to progress is never ending. You always need to think how you can make a change, how you can make a revolution in your product, and what are the ways that you can make your team all think about and only care about real progress. And real progress is actually the value or the impact that you are doing to your customers. It's not how many tasks your market has done, how many bugs have you solved, okay? These are all not important. What's important is the value that your customers get. So if you measure things and share the information with everyone and build the right tools and set up an impossible deadlines, you would be able to make a lot more progress than motion. Thank you very much.